office. It might be a little echoey in here, and I mean, it speaks for itself, right? There's a lot of work in progress to be done this weekend. But hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Sam, and this is a very late 24-hour readathon, specifically, hopefully, for the Orilium all-nighter. Little backstory, I, in August, was traveling the exact weekend that the Orilium all-nighter was happening. So I wasn't able to participate officially, and I was planning to do it the weekend after, and then I couldn't because life, and so I decided that, okay, I'll do it the first weekend of September, even though it's technically not August. Technically the rules say you can't read outside of the readathon, those books don't count, but I need to be nice to myself. That's just how this is. I need to be nice to myself. I've been in a really bad life slump the last 2.5 months, basically all of summer, so we're getting out of it and things are getting better. But that means that I have the biggest, the absolute largest TBR of like failed books. So because I only read 4 books in August, we're gonna try and continue my Orilium TBR the best that I can. I do have a few books for September to read, and then other failed TBR books that I'm reading as well. We're gonna sort out the TBR for this weekend. That's the main goal of this beginning clip. So here is my little like cheat sheet of my 3 callings, because my character is quite the overachiever. If you are interested in knowing more about my character and so on and so forth, I do have a video with this coming hopefully very soon this month in September, and we can kind of go through my Orilium journal as well as my character art. So my character, Kiaran, I haven't decided yet. I'll figure out, I'll work it all out before we get to the video, I promise. But she has technically 3 callings. She failed alchemy in April for the spring equinox. So in my head, like, there was a summer in between. She might have done some summer school to catch up. I haven't, again, worked out all of the kinks of my character, but I do still try to achieve the alchemist callings, but I'm focused more on trying to complete herbology and beastmaster over it because I'm already on track for them. So for beastmaster, I have completed 2 classes, prompts, whatever you prefer. I still need to read an Enchantment of Ravens for the Familiars class of Ravens. I still need to read What Moves the Dead for Familiars class Hair. I'm supposed to read A Deadly Education, In My Dreams I Hold a Knife, and Under the Whispering Door by TJ Klune. So I have some of those. Continuing with herbology, I haven't read any of these, so luckily I only need to read 4, one being A History of Wild Places, You Made a Fool of Death with Your Beauty, Notes on an Execution, and The Ice Palace. Luckily though, a lot of these books I actually won't be reading in this video. One, because there's just too many, but also because I really try to keep my TBRs separate but same. So everything on here has a purpose, whether it is because I am filming a secret TBR video that you guys don't know about, or it's on a different month's TBR from failed TBRs. Everything has a purpose. So everything will be read eventually. For Alchemist, I need to read Sabrina the Teenage Witch. These are the Archie comics. I have the compendium? Is that the correct word? I have the entire ebook of all of them together. I need to read The Night Circus, Patsy, Fable, Caraval, Heartstopper 1, Heartstopper 2, and Book of Night. So again, a lot of these will have other videos attached to them, so we'll try and sort out what I'm reading exactly for this weekend. And that's it. technically. The rest of the books on here are all for quests, and then this side has my secret video projects, other books that I was just hopeful to get to. There's so much to read. No time, but so much to read. All right, so I'm not going to worry. That's the goal. I'm gonna try my best to not worry about the quests very much unless I'm already reading them. So, problem number 1. I have this issue when I read books that time does not exist. That I can read a book in like 3 hours, even though I'm a slow reader, even though the audiobook is 18 hours. In my head, I've got all the time in the world. Time doesn't exist. I can read everything in a weekend, no problem. As if I don't have like other things to do. Right. One of the things that we're definitely doing this weekend will be organizing my bookshelves. I will be doing that for my office tour, which will come also hopefully sometime this month. There's so many good things coming out. I don't even know when you're seeing this, but I have so many videos in the work from being so behind. But I guess let's hunt for the few things I know for sure I want to read this weekend. Book number 1 for sure. Oh my god. I have seemed to completely misplace all of my horror books. Just kidding, right in front of my face. Alright, get your comments out of the way now. Here's the TBR stack. Let's go through it. The first 2 I'm going to mention, oh my goodness, are going to be for my herbology class. And I say this now, things might get like resituated after I've finished reading things. My brownies are done, I'll be right back. Brownies are out of the oven. They look great. They smelled great. Okay, so for herbology, we're going to focus on my class Scroll of Mending, Enchanted Scroll of Mending. And for this, you need to read a book that's been on your TBR the longest. I'm personally going off of my current reads being on my TBR the longest because I started The Ice Palace by Tarji Vesas in January, maybe? A very long time ago. I read the first 30 pages, I was really enjoying it, but it wasn't a story that I was like urging to pick back up, you know, like I was just kind of like, it's there. I have like 150 pages maybe left, and for Book with a Familiar or a Companion, I'm going to read the Archie comics for Sabrina the Teenage Witch because she has a cat companion, a little demon cat. I love it. So those are going to be the 2 books I focus on ebook wise. The rest, they're all in this stack here. I spent a very long time trying to find this book, but here we have Under the Whispering Door by TJ Klune. This will also be for Enchanted Scroll of Mending, because I've also been reading this for an incredibly long time. Oh, I thought my bookmark was gone. I'm literally like halfway. We're gonna finish it. I am enjoying this. I'll talk about plots when I'm actually reading. This is just gonna be the TBR. But I've been reading this for a long time. I remember everything that's happened. It's a very slow-paced fantasy. It's rather cozy, rather autumnal though too. So here for the vibes, here for the vibes. For one of the quests Study Buddy required, the prompt is to read a morally gray character, and for this I'm going to be finishing Scythe by Neil Shusterman. Almost wanted to say Gaiman. Again, halfway, floppy. Hey! I'm really enjoying this. I've slowly been picking it up here and there. I'll read 20 pages, go to bed. I'm loving it. I have zero reason to not finish this. I'm halfway. I'm enjoying it. I want to finish the series the new short story collections coming out later this year. Like, we're gonna do it. The next thing that I'm going to be reading, which makes it less intimidating because I can read these rather fast, I will be doing a reread of the entire Heartstopper series. I read the first 2 in June, and then I finally got the 3rd and 4th volume months later. I was waiting on this 3rd volume. It was sold out everywhere for a very long time. I finally have them. I want to read them all in one sitting and just like bask in happiness. And I really need this for myself. I do have these 2 both on the TBR. For alchemy, I have the class Inking Techniques to read a graphic novel or manga. I'm going to read the first one. And then for the Stilling the Wind class, which is a cozy read, I'm going to read Heartstopper too. I will probably try to squeeze volume 3 and volume 4 into quests that I find along the way, hopefully. And then the other book that I have progress in would be Morningstar by Pierce Brown. Eliza's probably screaming at me to finish this. My boyfriend's been screaming at me to finish this. Our friend Austin has been screaming at me to finish this. I need to do it. So I'm on chapter 19. She's a bit chunky. It's been probably 2 months since I picked this up. I don't think I was in the sci-fi mood when I started this, and I was really starting to hit a reading slump just overall, and I think dense, fantastical sci-fi just really wasn't it at the moment. But I do really want to come back to this world. I really want to finish this. I have the audiobook luckily to pair with it, so it will make this go by much faster. And for guild events preparation, the quest, I will be reading this because it was a buddy read. It's not anymore because everybody outread me, but this was a buddy read initially, so I tried. And the last 2 books kind of go hand in hand. This is What Moves the Dead by T. Kingfisher. This I am reading for Beastmaster's Familiar class Hair. Technically I need to read an Enchantment of Ravens first, but like, we break rules around here. I'm here to read and have fun. I'm not here to stress myself out. The readathon's over. No one cares. So yeah, I will be reading this. I never saw this. That's adorable. I will be reading this lovely little horror novella, which honestly the TBR is not so daunting because I'm halfway through everything, or it's short, or it's a graphic novel. So yeah, I am going to be reading this. I have to read this anyway because the Literally Dead Book Club live show will be coming up, and I want to have this read before that. And to pair with it, I've got Edgar Allan Poe. I'm just going to be reading The Fall of the House of Usher, which is like maybe 10-20 pages in here because that is what this is based off. So I'm going to read this as well as kind of like the source material. I'm not sure which order is best to read. I think I'm going to read this first. I don't know. Maybe I'll read this first, and then I'll read this. Sure. So that's everything. I don't have a reason to read this. I can probably find a quest to fit it though to make me feel more productive. Wow, that's a lot of books. It seems so daunting and challenging, but I think I can reasonably manage a good majority of this at least, because they're short. I'm halfway through them. I have audiobooks. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. And this will get me a significant chunk into this TBR, and then I can kind of go back to focusing on other things. I am in the middle of some of these audiobooks already, but again, they're just for different videos, so I'll talk about them there. But I am hoping not necessarily to finish all of this because again, this is a lot, but I'm hoping to make a very significant chunk in here so that when I go to journal all of what I've read, I feel like there's significant progress, and then we can talk about it and discuss what I read and for why. This is a very long intro. I do apologize. Let's get into the reading. I don't know what I'm starting with. I do know I'm gonna eat a brownie. Maybe Heartstopper because it's light, but maybe I should save it because it's light. Shoot. This part's always hard. I never know what to start with. I'm probably going to pick up one of these because, again, halfway through, I know the story very well. I haven't really forgotten anything. Yeah, so we'll crank out one of these first, I think, and then continue on the journey. I'll chat with you then. Yeah. Oh my. What a mess. Why are you so cute though? Why are you so cute though? Good morning. The dogs are playing, so they might be a little noisy, but I wanted to give reading updates from last night. So I'm 77% of the way through an Enchantment of Ravens. I'm really enjoying it. I love the characters. I love this like weird, eerie undertone of the spring court and like the prince or king or whoever knowing like what's going on, and this one fae girl who drank from the great well, which is how humans turn into fae, and it's just like I love that dynamic. I'm really enjoying this, so I'm hoping to finish the last hour today. And then as for Sabrina, the complete collection of the Sabrina the Teenage Witch Archie comics from 1972 to 1973. I really preferred 1973 more, where it was a bit more focused on Sabrina and Harvey. I love Harvey. I'm a Harvey stan. How dare they do Harvey so dirty all the time. They're so mean to him. My biggest complaint is the fact that these comics are completely out of order. Like, the very first comic you read is like comic 17 in 1973. And then later you read comic 15. So them being out of order kind of makes it more confusing to follow, because like one comic, she's having a party at her house with her friends and like everything's fine. And then the next comic, which is completely separate, is Sabrina complaining to her aunt why she can't have parties at the house. And I'm like, you just had a party though. But I didn't like any of these characters. They're all very stereotypical versions of themselves, which like is fine, but I genuinely did not like any of them except for maybe Jughead. Yeah, I didn't like any of them. Sabrina was annoying and just stupid and like meddling into everybody's lives because she has magic, but it didn't really help. And then you've got Archie, who goes back and forth between dating Sabrina, Betty, and Veronica, and that was just like annoying. Ronnie treats him like complete garbage. Everybody completes Harvey like complete garbage. Jughead literally is like, I'm not interested in girls. I don't want to be with a girl. I just want to like eat my food and live my life. And everyone's forcing him to date Big Ethel, and Big Ethel's just like, oh, no man likes me. I'm so ugly. Nobody wants to be with me. And like Sabrina meddles and like makes things worse but also better. It's just like a weird friendship dynamics. I really wasn't into it. But I did appreciate, especially in the later half, all of the terms like groovy and just like the way Sabrina and these kids like were talking. It just made me laugh. It was so comical. My favorite comic, I'll put it on the screen because I don't remember what it was called. Oh no, it was Bride and Gloom. and it's a story that the head witch Della is telling to Sabrina, like a bedtime story. Loved that one. That was by far the best one. So highly recommend that one alone. There were a couple really good ones in there, and then others that were just really annoying. So I just gave it a flat 3 stars. Might be a gracious 3 stars. It might really be deserving of less, but like, I know that I'm not really the target audience. I'm not quite the person meant to be reading it, but you know, it be what it be. It is what it is. But now we're starting the Fall of the House of Usher. Finally, 19 pages of a short story. I've already read like the couple sentences, and then I was like, I should probably update the vlog before I get too ahead of myself. But wow, this is my first Edgar Allan Poe, and I own this, which is a bunch of his tales. I want to say there's like maybe 10 or something. I'm not reading it in order currently. I will eventually, I think. So there's 15 stories in here, and this is my first Edgar Allan Poe ever. His writing is exquisite. Like, it's so beautiful. I'm gonna really enjoy this, I think. So I'm gonna read this, probably update you guys, and then read What Moves the Dead, update you guys. It'll be great. So, oh yeah? Too much of a shelf sneak peek just yet, but I finished both of these. Took a bit longer than I was expecting, to be entirely honest. So first I read The Fall of the House of Usher by Edgar Allan Poe, which is the source material for What Moves the Dead by T. Kingfisher. This was 19 pages. Edgar Allan Poe loves his run-on sentences. He loves comma. He has a very unique writing style that I do enjoy. And he has a way with words. The writing is beautiful. I do see myself reading more of his work, so I'm glad that I have 15 other books to read, or stories to read. But I had to pick up the audiobook for this, and I was kind of rushing it because I wanted to beat the live show. I have no feelings. I was not smart enough for this. I will be reading this again. I think I'm going to try and read this whole collection in October. But I feel like I just missed stuff. Or, like, it's just such a short story that maybe it's just not all explained. But I enjoyed it. I didn't rate this because I just don't think that I have enough to say on it or a reason. But I will try and rate the whole thing as a whole, obviously. But yeah, I did read it, so there was that. But what we're really here for is What Moves the Dead by T. Kingfisher. One, this is just such a beautiful edition. Like, the cover, kind of creepy, eerie, but I kind of also love it. And then you've got the House of Usher, in my bad lighting. And then you open it up and you've got the hair. So, what is this about, you ask? We are following our main character, Alex Easton, who gets a letter from an old friend, Madeline Usher, and she has fallen very ill, and she's stressed out a little bit about being ill, and the fact that her brother Roderick thinks she's going to die. So she kind of reaches out and invites Alex, one of their friends, to come visit. And from there, we kind of learn what's going on with Madeline, what's going on with the house, what's going on with Roderick, as well as like getting to know all the other side characters. None of them were really standoutish. I can't say that I loved any character. I kind of like Madeline, to be honest, but like the characters don't really give. But this is a far more character driven than the original source material. There's like spooky house vibes, zombie ghost, whatever, like creepy. But this, T. Kingfisher, also the author's note, incredible, so good. But T. Kingfisher, they write retellings because when reading the source material, it was so short and there were so many unanswered questions that they decided to write what they think was happening to give answers to the questions. So I really enjoyed the direction in which T. Kingfisher took the story, where the fungus has obviously more of a role in the story. The hairs, like the cover says it all, but I did really enjoy overall what the story had to say. I ended up giving this 4 stars, and no spoilers, but at the end, one of my favorite parts was when Roderick tells Easton, "You were the last of my friends and the best." And I felt emotional because that's like a direct correlation to the source, because there's a lot of differences but similars. So in the source material, Roderick is the one that sends our unnamed narrator the letter saying that Madeline is ill, and basically is like, you're my only friend, you're my best friend, I want you here. And here Madeline's the one that reaches out, but Roderick then later is like, you're my only friend, you're my best friend. And I'm just like, oh, the material. And I really enjoyed that part. Another part that I really enjoyed was in the beginning, and this truly has nothing to do with anything, but our narrator is just kind of talking about themselves basically, and say, "I lack any psychic sensitivities whatsoever. Animals like me, but I occasionally think that they must find me frustrating, as they stare and twitch unknown spirits, and I say insane things like, 'Who's a good fellow then?' And 'Does Kitty want a treat?' Look, if you don't make a fool of yourself over animals, at least in private, you aren't to be trusted. That was one of my father's maxims and never failed me yet." And I just agree full-heartedly. Like, Alex, you're not wrong. Alex, yes. So I did have a good time. For 160 whatever pages, like, this took way longer than I thought it would. The audiobook was 5 hours, 11 minutes. And I was like, why does that feel wrong to me? I started reading this at 3 times speed while I was following along, trying to finish it before the live show. Spoiler, I didn't finish it before the live show, so I finished it afterwards. We also had an intermission to go shopping, so that also happened. We got some books. But 4 stars, not rated, but good. Was a success. I'm happy with this. I think this is basically 3 things down, so that's great. It's still pretty early, Sunday evening, so I think my plan is to read The Ice Palace. I'm gonna finish that. I read 10 pages last night before bed, so I think I have like 130, 140-ish pages left, so I'm gonna try and finish that tonight, and then if time or possible, it might be tomorrow morning before I end this video, but I think I'm gonna also try to finish an Enchantment of Ravens, which I'm still enjoying, so I'm hoping to finish the last hour of that, last 140 pages of The Ice Palace, and then this video will be done, and I'll have read 5 things, which is so good for me. So I'm gonna go read. I'll update you guys either later tonight, but more likely tomorrow morning before I go to work. Hello, we're here with final thoughts. I didn't forget about the vlog or this video. I knew it was happening. I knew the due date was yesterday. But I started watching Fruits Basket, the anime, and I'm obsessed. And so once I started yesterday, I couldn't stop. So I made dinner, and then I sat there and I watched Fruits Basket, and I basically just cried to every episode. I was so emotional. I was enjoying it so much. But hi. The final book that I read for this video was An Enchantment of Ravens by Margaret Rogerson. And as for my very first ever Fae book, I learned a lot about Fae. I learned a lot about Margaret Rogerson's writing, which I really enjoyed. I think that she is the author for me. I really want to read Sorcery of Thorns. I have Vespertine on my shelves. I need to own the other two immediately. I really enjoyed it. I think it was fun. I really didn't understand the romance, but I liked how the characters acted with each other. I liked how the Fae treated our main character, who was human, and like all of that. I liked the aspect of this green well that could turn humans into Fae, and that's kind of like how the Fae lure humans into liking them, because they're like, oh, well, you can always be a Fae too if you want. And it was just a very interesting dynamics. I loved the action going on in this. I loved our main character's relationship with her family and like her traumas and all this stuff. I enjoyed it. I'm not gonna say it's the best book ever, but like as my very first ever Fae book, because I haven't read Akotar, I haven't read these Hollow Vows, I haven't read The Cool Prince, like I haven't touched any of those. So it's a good introduction. I learned about Fae and what they're like, and I had a good time. That's it. I gave this 4 stars. I wouldn't say it was like a favorite book or anything, but it was just definitely enjoyable. Had a good time. So those were all of the books. I read Sabrina the Teenage Witch, all of the Archie comics. Not great. A generous 3 stars because, you know, it's not the 60s and 70s anymore. It's a bit outdated. I never had an attachment to the Archie comics as a whole. My attachment to Sabrina the Teenage Witch is literally the show different. So that is what it is. And then I read The Fall of the House of Usher, 19 pages, and What Moves the Dead by T. Kingfisher, a wonderful book. I think this was also 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. It's very eerie, very creepy. If you don't like gore, if you don't like disturbing imagery, not going to be for you. But if you can handle short horror that gets you questioning, but if you've especially read this, you'll like this a lot because it just takes this and explains everything in better detail and gives you reasoning, which my little brain loves to have reason. So I read these as well. And then, as we just talked about, Enchantment of Ravens. So not nearly, okay, my piece of paper is way down here. I did not complete nearly as much as I was hoping to. I didn't really make a dent at all in my current reads list. Kind of problematic, I know. But I will touch them. I'll get to them. I promise. But as for my list, I really didn't bring it down a whole lot, but Sabrina the Teenage Witch being like 500 comics about this big on my big iPad screen really didn't make for an enjoyable reading experience, and it just felt like they were dragging. I also didn't like most of the comics, so it just kind of didn't flow. I didn't want to really pick it back up. I didn't want to read it very much. Yeah, so what I'm understanding is I still have a lot to read, but again, I have a lot of video projects in the works, so it'll be fine. But that's gonna be all for this video, so I can get this edited and uploaded for you guys. My sneak peeks to the shelves. Not done because here's another sneak peek, but besides the mess, these are all of the books I need to haul here soon. So yeah, I need to build this shelf still. I have another shelf that I have to build. Still a lot of work in progress, but sneak peek at least. So all right, that's gonna be it. I'm gonna skedaddle. If you guys liked this video, feel free to give it a thumbs up on the video. It helps a lot with channels. If you want to see more of me, you should subscribe. I'm trying to post 3 days a week. I'm also very behind in content, so there might be bonus videos here and there. The schedule might be a little off because reading projects are hard. No one tells you that on BookTube, but like it's kind of difficult to time your reading to get a video up, but also have other videos going on, more than I was expecting. But either way, I'm enjoying it. I have a lot of fun things to read here soon. A lot of new projects that I've thought of for October. It's a problem I really need to be stopped. So I'm gonna plan some things, start reading more stuff, and I will see you guys very soon in my next video. Bye!